Good evening, everybody. This is Pekka from UNITT. I'm talking to you from cold and dark Helsinki, Finland. It's 10 o'clock in the evening.
This is Jussi Mäkelä. I am not so cold and not so dark southern Spain.
And this is Mikko Ville. I'm also not very cold. This is because I'm currently in Madeira, Portugal, which is a very nice climate.
So we are so excited to start this first UNITT Demo and AMA session live stream and welcome you all listeners. So maybe some brief introductions first. My name is Pekka Mäkelä and I'm the CEO and founder of UNITT. My background is in mechanical engineering, but since 2015 I have been working more or less full-time with projects involving digital identities and cryptography. After many iterations, I started to develop the idea for UNITT back in the late 2021, and we started the company in spring 2022.
So I'm Jussi Mäkelä. I am acting as the COO, so I'll do all the business planning and commercial planning and all that sort of thing. My background is, I'm not a technical person. My background is I started off in banking and then I was in publishing and the B2B media sector for about 10 years before then starting this with the guys.
Yeah, and I'm Mikko Ville. I'm acting as a CTO in UNITT. So I'm pretty much responsible for all the technological aspects, developing the smart contracts and the backend and the app. And since I'm also the only developer in the team, my work is pretty much cut out for me.
And okay, there's also UK in the background, so he's orchestrating the chat and this live stream on behalf of us. So maybe he will appear in the next live stream we've got. Okay, so I thought that maybe we should start by talking a little bit about the story behind UNITT. What's the thinking and why did we start to do this? So basically, we have very sort of like a elevated idea behind it. So we started it as a sort of crusade against the giant platforms. As we all know, the big corporations like Meta, Amazon, Apple, and Google, they have been able to monopolize people's identities, connections, and creators and monetize them mostly for their own benefit. They are sort of like feudal landlords who can tax everything that go on in their domain as they please. So we wanted to be a part of building a more fair internet for everybody. We believe tokenization through decentralized blockchain technologies is the future of internet. With tomorrow's technologies, people should be able to take ownership of their identities, their connections, data, and decide by themselves what to do with it. The idea was to enable value transfer between people without the platforms being the middleman. The big question was, what would be the most versatile user experience that would enable most of these kinds of interactions? Our aim was not to curate centrally or algorithmically how value is distributed inside the system. So that meant that these kinds of social feed type of models, what, for example, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, or X is using was out of the question. On the other hand, chat seems to be the go-to interface for communication between people and different services. And people are already used to communicating with each other, and for example, with customer service chats or AI chatbots. So we felt that the chat is a very flexible platform for social innovation to be happened by the users themselves. So users can exchange value between each other, but they can also earn tokens by watching advertising and interacting with brands, or even creating content by themselves. And then they can use those tokens to consume content or take them out of the system and convert them to fiat money. So here we are. We created the UNITT tokenized instant messaging app, and we hope people will like it and start using it and come up with many new ways to use it in their lives. So maybe Mikko Ville, you could next tell us something about the design principles we have used when we created UNITT.
Sure. So everybody probably has heard about the blockchain trilemma, meaning security, scalability, and decentralization. Well, in our design of our system, we had a similar trilemma. It was security, usability, and affordability. Because in an instant messaging system, it has to be pretty much instant, and you can't pay exorbitant gas fees for every message that you send. It just wouldn't be feasible. And as we all probably know, Cadena's chain web solution solves the affordability aspect nicely, as the gas fees are almost non-existent, even when the system scales. But our problem also is that since we are targeting not just crypto enthusiasts, but Web2 users, so how do we bring Web2 users to fold in terms of Web3 technologies? So we have to offer the security and ownership and other key aspects of the Web3 world, while maintaining the typical user interface, user experience, for example, of major instant messaging applications. And even though Cadena's blockchain's transaction times are very, very short, from say minute to 3 minutes, it's still not fast enough to run an instant messaging system. Or when you say, as you will see, buy content in our marketplace and you pay for the content, you don't want to wait 2 or 3 minutes for the content to appear. It just wouldn't be a nice experience. So we sort of built our own backend layer between the mobile app and the packed smart contracts, allowing the users to use their own keys and their or own their own keys and their content, but providing a fluid user experience. And obviously, it's still a very much a work in progress as we continue to provide more features and functionality while working out the kinks. But I think based on the feedback from the beta testers, I think we're getting there. So, and by the way, maybe I can take this opportunity to thank the initial beta testers for their effort, for providing excellent feedback and suggestions. It's extremely valuable for us and also makes my work so much easier. So thanks for that. But yeah, maybe we can actually show how the application works. Those who haven't seen it might get a better idea of what we're talking about. Jussi, can you show us?
Sure, absolutely. So I'll take over. So basically, what I'm doing here is the screen you're seeing is my phone. So we're kind of like taking the risk live demo, live AMA. So all sorts of things could go horribly wrong, but bear with us. So we thought of like actually showing you the whole from the very much of like creating accounts to actually the kind of stuff that you can actually do with it. So I have just recently installed the UNITT here, so let me go and get started. At the moment, it's only on invitational basis. So what I will do here is just get an invitation code, try to write that before anybody else does, and submit, and hopefully we can move forward. So we don't, as is part of the kind of philosophy as we do, we don't really collect any sort of personal information here. The only thing that you need to put is the username, and this is something you can't change afterwards. First name, last name, we'll get to those as well. Those are all completely optional if you just want to share with your contacts. So we also did, if anybody can't come up with a good username, it sort of automatically generates suggestions. Expert Labyrinth sounds good enough for me for now, so no reason to change that. So let me just go on to the next phase. We need to set up our PIN code. I will do that now. And obviously this is a kind of like, quite critical as shown here as well, in the sense that this is indeed decentralized. None of this is held by us or anything like that. So you need to make sure that if you lose your PIN, you lose access to your device. If you don't have your seed phrase stored, you will not be able then to return the account. So that's the sort of the trade-off and the issues that we always will continue having in decentralized systems. We have read the terms and services privacy policy, and we can confirm. And now we will actually create the account. Now, as we were talking about the block time delays, this is going to take a little bit of time because the token accounts and all that sort of things are created. Normally 2 minutes. 3, maybe faster than that sometimes. So I don't know. Smoke them if you got them. We'll wait that to finish. I don't know if there's anything our colleagues want to add. Yeah, take a drink. But again, going into the usability side, there are certain things that we try to, and we need to try and make quicker, that it is usable. Unfortunately, this is one bit, which is the creating of the account, that we just can't make any faster. So we just have to sit tight and wait.
Maybe I can comment on the registration. So indeed, we don't hold any personal details anywhere in our system except the username and the public keys corresponding to that. So everything is on your device, and even when you send messages, the contact data will be transferred as part of the message as a metadata. So we are not going to store anything, we're not tracking anybody, and we take the privacy issues very, very seriously. So also all the communication is end-to-end encrypted. If you do backups, they're also encrypted, so we don't have access to any messages or any backups that you might make. They are your keys and your possession. So this is also something concerning Web2 users that we have to sort of educate, that if you lose it, it's lost.
Yeah. Perfect timing. So now the registering is finished, so we can actually start exploring. Notification, yes, we do allow that. Obviously, brand new account, so we don't have any units, we don't have any messages to show. So maybe the first thing I will go in the bottom right here, which is the account, just to go a couple of things. So we did say earlier, the only thing which is you need to set up is your username, and you can't change it afterwards, but you can add additional information for your contact to see, such as your first name, so first name, last name, and so forth. You can add a picture. Let me do that. Allow full access. That's my pictures. That's my dog. So let me put the picture of my dog here. And status message, you can put here hello. Oh, let me write hello like that and save. So this is the kind of information that your contacts will see. What you share with them, you can see from the contact card here. which is a QR code. You can also copy the contact if you want to send the link to somebody, or you can just share your own contact details by hitting the share button, and you can use, whatever a WhatsApp, Slack, X, whatever type of other application as well if you want to reach out of the UNITT app. Also here, if we go on some of on the app here, we have a backup. This is a quite key. This is where you get to see your seed phrase. I'm not going to open that just simply because, well, I'll probably delete this account afterwards. But anyway, but it's the sort of usual sort of 12-word seed phrase that are there. There is this option, as we've discussed, of like having a backup done by us. You can switch that off, so no backup is held by us or anybody else like that. If you do have your backup on, you can also manually back up it when you please. That's then the data that will be then restored if you ever restore your account if you've lost the access.
Yeah, this is because obviously if you change your phone, for example, you need to be able, the seed phrase only contains your keys and data that can be derived from that. But since we don't store any of your messages or contacts or anything like that, if you change your phone, for example, you might still want your old discussions and that sort of stuff there. So that's why we provide the centralized backup functionality. But like I said, it's completely strongly encrypted thing, so we don't have access to what it contains.
Absolutely. So then moving on to the sample showing, moving on to the contacts. There is a couple of contacts already there that we have in the system already. One is an integration with ChatGPT, which we will show in a moment, just a sort of example of show like how you can actually integrate this with AI chatbots and other services. And there's also one for the UNITT team, so users can contact us through this way. So sending a messages to us. So that is the simplest way, in case there's, especially during now the testing phase and all that sort of, it's quite critical a way for us to be in contact with everyone. But also we can add new contacts, and what I have here is I have on another phone, I actually have Pekka's contact card open here. So let me just do is I will scan the QR code, allow. You can see my phone, and there it is. Now this is Pekka's contact card. So very simply, I can just add contact and I can send him a message. So clicking over here, like any instant messaging, I'm just going to send hello. Hopefully Pekka is able to send me some units. So while he is responding to us, give him a couple of minutes.
Not that long.
Yeah, hopefully it doesn't make that long. Hopefully he's going to be able to write something interesting for us. But maybe to kind of like give you a couple of examples in terms of like how you can actually use that. So when you're sending messages that don't carry any tokens, that's free. That's not the application isn't going to charge anything for that. But if there is any kind of a unit being sent, then there is a small charge which effectively covers the gas fees and the investment and so forth. So now Pekka has sent me, and he's actually offering some units, 10 units in fact. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to accept those. And here you are, here's some units. So 10 units he will be sending. That's again going to take a minute maybe or two just to sort of like get that transaction finalized. We should see in the top left corner the sort of the unit balance that should come through. But again, this is a kind of an example of showing like you are able, like what Pekka did, is actually able to pay for my attention. This is some of the things that none of the platforms do, even though their whole business is based on their users' attention, but the users don't make anything out of that. So this is something that through UNITT you are actually able to do. So Pekka offers me units, and then I will read if I accept that, I will read his content in order to get those things, and those should be coming shortly through. Whilst the units are on the way, okay, now he's sending me more. Okay, want to see how the future looks like for 5 tokens? Absolutely. And what do we see here? Okay, the future looks
like UNITT.
Looks like UNITT. So
I thought it looks like your hand. But...
Yeah,
that
another
too.
five units come on the way. Okay, so the 10 units just arrived. So it is 10 minus 2%. I was talking earlier about the transaction fee. So 9 units, 9.8 units came through. Soon the 5 units will come through as well. So let me go back now, back to the contact list. And I was earlier mentioning about ChatGPT, how you can integrate that. So this is just literally an API going through ChatGPT, and I can ask anything on that, and it could be any type of AI service. So let me ask a question, for instance, what is a cadena? And I will send that. As you can see now, ChatGPT preparing the answer. And there it is. Cadena is a blockchain platform, ... So again, in order for us to see the whole response, I have to pay the 2 units. Luckily, I just got the other 5, and then it took straight away the 2, and there's the full answer. And this is, again, this is linked in the way that like the pricing is what we've done here as an example. Like, the longer the answer, the more you pay. The shorter the answer, the less you pay. So again, it's a sort of example of how AI services could be using and how you can actually monetize that. And that's not just ChatGPT, obviously any type of AI services that are coming on stream more and more. So that's that in terms of the chats. Maybe what I will just lastly do is just to show in terms of like how easy it is to, with Pekka, is how easy it is to add or ask for Cadena. So I'm just going to reply to Pekka, thanks. And by clicking the options for sending, there's 3 options basically, that there's no tokens attached to the message. I can send units with the message, or I can request units with the message. So let's say Pekka has been nice, so I will send him, I'm going to go +1 again, so 2 units, and send that to him like that. And as you can see, my balance, it took the 2 units straight away in there, so I can't double spend that. And sooner or later, they will be arriving in Pekka's account as well.
So when receiving tokens, I also have the option to decline, because there might be situations where one wouldn't like to have tokens from someone else. And what then happens is that the tokens will revert back to the original sender, and their balance is corrected accordingly.
Absolutely. And the last bit then what I will show is the discovery. So this is a somewhat of a separate from the chat, where you can send content against payment. This is might say a marketplace for content. And what we are looking at here is featured, though. This is just something like articles and content that we have selected, and they appear in every user in the features section. All of these content are now posted by us. So it is a welcome message to UNITT, so the users can get a couple of units to start off with. Some articles that we've written in the past, and also, introduction, a little bit of how would I say, like a kind of like, what to expect when you go into the unit. So let me just show you all of these offer units, as we want to give units to people so they get going. So this is again where, imagine this could be an advert for somebody that, here you go, if you read our content, we will pay you money. So I'm just going to click here, earn 1 unit to open the introduction to the world of UNITT. And this will now take to wherever the publisher of the content is maintaining that data. So this is not our database or anything like that. This is an encrypted URL that points to wherever this content is. So here we are. Very interesting information about the world of UNITT, which once you get to use it, you can read on your own. So that's the sort of the feature. I can also search for content. I know that some of the beta testers posted content on Cadena. So again, I will search for Cadena, make it correctly spelled. And here we go. For instance, Curator posted something on Swans Finance, Cadena DAO Factory. We have somebody linking Cadena website and all that. And again, this is a sort of a similar situation. All of these are free, and I will show you those in a moment. But this doesn't pay me any units, or nor does it charge me any units. But again, it sort of points to wherever the publisher has their data. And it opens up in the app. What I can also do, that if I want to share, I can share in the similar sort of share function that content through other apps, and in the future also with inside UNITT as well. I can put that as my favorite with that. I will show that in a moment. Or I can report the content if I think that there's a copyright infringement or something like that. Something's posting something that they shouldn't be posting, or copying the link. I put that as a saved, and then they can see from this saved tab here, my saved content. And then lastly, just to show you, so how do you actually post content? Again, in UNITT, we don't have any sort of separation in, like, who is a user, who is an advertiser, who is a company, who's a publisher, and all that. We all are at any given time, all of these. So it is a very simple thing to do. So we just have this big green plus at the bottom right corner. I will put a content URL. Earlier, I'm just going to show you how a video works. Let me see if it's still there. It is not. I can do let me show, just going to, this is in a, YouTube link. This doesn't seem to be working very well. Forget about that. Let me go back into, it sort of forgets the URL. So let me just put unit.io. and continue. So I put the URL where I have my content. I now have, it sort of extracts the metadata from in this case, just our website, but this could be any kind of publishing platform, or it could be something that is undiscoverable through public internet otherwise. And I have basically three options here. I can share the content for free, not charging anything, not paying them anything. I can request tokens. So this is if I want to make money out of this, and I simply just set the price, how much every individual user needs to pay me first time when they open the article. Or I can pay tokens, in which case I set how much I will pay every individual reader, and then I set the max budget, which is like to how many readers. So let's say I set the price as I pay 1 unit for every reader. I set the max budget at 100 units. That means the first 100 readers will get to see, and they will earn a 1 unit. After that, after the money is gone, then it sort of reverts into a free article. But let me just put in request tokens. I will put in 2 and publish. And what it now starts to do, and Mikko Ville can maybe then provide a more detail on that, but effectively create this inside the content registry in blockchain, where the URL and the metadata and the pricing detail is. And once it has been completed, it will send a notification for me that it's there, and then anybody can basically search and find that, and maybe some of the beta testers can perhaps look for it there. I can then go into the tab posted, and this then shows the content that I posted, where that is, and I can open it and show you how it sort of looks like and how it works. And here we can see, I'm just going to click on the video, and it will start to show the video as well. So this is also a way that we can share video content very easily. You can put it on YouTube. That was my first attempt to try and do that, but the machine had forgotten the link from the clipboard. But the idea is that you can always have like a hidden private link, and you can share it this way just on a YouTube, and people will can pay you in order to see that.
Maybe I can just interject that. So yes, we do write the content and all the purchases to blockchain, but it's the key, the public key that's visible there as a publisher or the buyer will be separate from your messaging keys. So those can't be linked back to your messaging profile. So for example, if you use UNITT for messaging and you share your QR code or your public key for people to contact you, and you also publish material articles or something, or you read certain type of articles that you want to sort of separate, sort of, for example, your business self and your consumer self, those can't be linked. This is also the part of the privacy aspect that we try to maintain.
Exactly. So that's the sort of the demo part. I don't know. I think there is some questions coming through. So how should we?
So I would like to say a few words about our future roadmap first, and then we can do the questions. So what's next for UNITT? First of all, we will conclude the invitational beta testing on Kadena testnet that's going on. So thanks again for everybody who's taking part. Then we will start to prepare deploying the UNITT sort of MVP product to the Kadena mainnet during the coming months and as soon as possible. We are also planning to do a pre-sale of the UNITT token, so those who would like to invest to our project will be able to do so and hopefully do 100x. One never knows. But going back to the technical roadmap, first of all, we will try to enrich the chat user experience with better reply functions, reactions, and emojis, so people have been used to the niceties that are nowadays in WhatsApp and Telegram and Signal and so on. So people are expecting these kind of features, and we have to do them at some point. We will also have a group chat, and we will have the in-app token purchase integration happening before the mainnet deployment. But then going forward to more things in the more distant future. So we are looking for the ability so that you could buy and sell NFTs and NFT-based avatars inside UNITT, and this will be possibly done with cooperation with other Kadena-based projects. So that is very exciting. We will do video chatting, and we will create a UNITT web app, which will include tools for professional content, community, and campaign management, so that the sort of professional users and advertisers and marketers could come into the ecosystem. And then we can see some kind of integration to a self-sovereign identity model, which would enable us the verification and sharing of verifiable credentials. So you could prove, for instance, that you are over 18 years old or you live in certain places and so on. Also, the Kadena roadmap offers very interesting paths to do this, example through zero-knowledge proof technologies. But now we could maybe do some questions. So how would we do this? There are some coming in the chat, so maybe I'll read the first one. Will there be an IDO for the UNITT token? So the short answer is yes. We are a little bit different to many crypto projects that we actually wanted to do a working product first and then think about the tokenomics and IDOs and so forth. So we can't offer you a very clear picture how we will do it, but rest assured that we are planning to do it. So stay tuned. Then there is a question when it'll drop on Android. So the testnet version is already available for both Android and iOS. So I was answering Jussi with my Android phone, and as you can see, he's sharing the screen from an iPhone. Then somebody asked about, am I the only one that's thinking about using this for OnlyFans type of situation? And that's not our aim, but everybody who's thinking about content sharing and value sharing can think that many different kinds of use cases. So again, we can offer this for the users will decide how will they use the unit in the end.
Maybe I just add something a little bit on. So I think that whatever kind of creator you are, I think you're sort of facing a similar issue, whether you are the sort of only type, and we can all imagine what the OnlyFans creators mostly are, at least that make most of the money in there, but they are having exactly probably the same issues that those who publish blogs on Substack and so forth. And perhaps the kind of the thinking is that it's not about replacing and offering a better alternative, but realizing the fact that if most of your outside of advertising, your income will be on a subscription basis. So you try and sell subscriptions. I think OnlyFans offer some pay-per-view type thing as well, but I don't know how it works and at all. I know that, but mostly it's kind of subscription. It's like the same thing as with Substack. But the truth is that only a very, very small, if you have a conversion of 5% of your followers will become paying subscribers, you're doing fantastically well. If you're 1%, you're still doing pretty well. Somebody was on a one kind of a major technology publication was saying is that they were doing on Substack and they were achieving kind of less than 0.2% of conversions. So a lot of traffic, but no conversions to paid subscribers. So what do you do with that remaining 99%? How could you potentially make money out of those people who are actually interested in your content, but who don't necessarily want to sign up to a $10 a month subscription? And that's where UNITT comes in, that they can actually channel that traffic to UNITT, and you can pay I can buy the single article for 20 cents, 10 cents, whatever the price is, $2, whatever the case might be. And that's the kind of the way that you can actually sort of monetize the 90+% of people who are interested in your stuff, but who just can't ask to be kind of like paid subscribers.
So there's a very interesting question. Why did you guys choose Kadena? So Mikko-Ville, maybe you will take this one.
Okay, yes. So Kadena was sort of obvious choice for us when we mapped or laid out all the sort of demands and restrictions that our application needs, which I mentioned earlier, is first of all the speed, the scalability, the security, as well as the very low gas fees when we're talking about micropayments. So instead of like say many dollars per transaction, we are paying fraction of a cent per transaction. So in an instant messaging and this sort of content sharing, that's essential. But there are also technical aspects that are, for example, the fact that the packed language is quite easy to pick up. It's very secure, so there are no known hacks made against packed smart contracts, as opposed to some other smart contract languages, and also it's human readable. So anybody who's interested in the sort of the business logic can go and check out those and smart contracts. And also the community is extremely supportive and engaged, which is of course very nice for us as we need beta testers and so on, and we get extremely good feedback.
And,
So
and the Cadena team has been great supporters.
Yes, Cadena team, just when we were initially looking for technologies, and actually the founding members and the team and the content that they produced, and by that time there wasn't so much. Now the new Cadena is, of course, from a developer learning experience perspective is much better, but already back then it was just the technical expertise and sort of clear communication, everything that just sold us. So yeah, those are some of the reasons, and we haven't looked back. So it's been a very good development experience.
One more question about the business logic. There's Arjan is asking about doing like news and pay for reading and newspaper. So maybe Jussi, you could touch that a little bit.
Well, I guess absolutely the sort of the thing is that if you're looking at so on both sides, so you can have, in terms of if you're a publisher, you can obviously use the discovery, and this is a kind of like what it was designed for, because like, you know, the plight of publishers, we rely on those information that they provide in articles and all that sort of things, but then, you know, a lot of their business has been taken away simply because of, like, you know, how the platform economy works. So this is a way for them not only to make their kind of back catalog, if you will, or their kind of articles available in discovery, but it's also through the chat, which is effectively this, you know, one-to-one direct relationship with your reader, where you can send articles and they can choose whether they want to read them and pay for them, without necessarily heavily trying to drive people into subscription base, which for a lot of publications is not even necessarily viable to get any meaningful subscription base, or that you're just reliant on advertising, which the kind of advertising rates, because of all the cuts that the companies, platforms curating that traffic actually take in between. So it's a very much a kind of a view as well of, like, you know, how can we actually have a quality journalism again that actually pays, and who need to focus, or who can focus then on creating the content that their readers are interested and want, rather than the content that where you can attach advertisers to, or that, you know, driving so subscribers or whatever the case might be.
Yeah, exactly. So so there's one more question that's left unanswered. So what is the desired method of providing beta feedback? Email, Discord, or via UNITT messaging? So please send your feelings through the UNITT team. Contact, if you can, through the UNITT app. Also, email is very well welcome, and basically we will try to pick up all comments from other channels too, but our preferred channel is, of course, through UNITT. All right, so I think that we are almost depleted our time here. I would like to thank you, everybody who has been listening in, and thanks Jussi, Mikko-Ville, and Juke behind the scenes. We will be doing these AMAs further on. So thanks so much. Have a nice rest of the evening or day wherever you are in the world, and see you in UNITT.
Thanks everyone.
Ciao.
Bye.